Giancarlo Stanton is a future Hall of Famer.
Oh, baby, this is such an interesting question, and we're going to talk about it because for me, this is contingent on if Giancarlo Stanton gets to 500 home runs. But if he does, I think Giancarlo Stanton is a Hall of Famer. I really do. Let's talk about it.
Okay.
Look, we can't be short-sighted here, right? As baseball fans, what have you done for me lately? We look at, okay, his Yankees tenure, but like, okay, he hits homers. No. Let's step back to his days with the Marlins. If we're going to have a Hall of Fame conversation, let's talk about how for a 6-7 year period, 8 year period, so for the better part of a decade, Giancarlo Stanton was one of the best players in the game of baseball. And that includes in 2017 when he was the best player in the game of baseball by winning an MVP award. Now, an MVP award matters because right off the top there, players with one MVP award in their career are about 50-50 to make the Hall of Fame. Okay. If you have an MVP, 50-50, you get into the Hall of Fame. 42 of 89 players that have won MVP are in the Hall of Fame. So that all of a sudden, right there. 5-time All-Star, MVP, 2-time Silver Slugger. So let's discuss 500, right? He just hit 400.
Can he get to 500?
He's 33 years old.
Yeah.
Now, this is largely, the answer is absolutely yes, he can. He's got 22 this year in less than 90 games. The power, despite everything seemingly not being the same, the speed is gone, injuries, all of that. The power is still there. 22 homers in less than 90 games. He can, but this is going to be largely dependent on health. And I obviously can't tell you if he's going to play the majority of games for the rest of his career. But let's say he does. He's on a pace to get there. He's been an incredible, he's never made it to a World Series, but he's been a really good guy. He's been a really good player in the postseason. 11 homers in 27 postseason games, I think it is. So I think he can get to 500 homers. And if he does, we're talking a Hall of Fame player. Look, there's only been 3 players that are not in the Hall of Fame that reach 500 home runs. And I would bet you a lot of you might be able to guess who they are. Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, Manny Ramirez. If he gets there, one of those things is not like the other, right? There's no allegations about anything with Giancarlo Stanton. So to me, when it comes to having this conversation, you have to look at the fact that he's a transcending talent. He changed the game. He's one of the greatest power hitters of this generation. I mean, nobody's hit balls harder and further than him, and he was doing it from back in like 2014. He changed the power game, in my opinion, and that year in Miami where he won the MVP award.
It's just he's injury prone.
Well,
can he stay healthy? That is going to be the number one reasoning whether he does or he doesn't get to 500 home runs.
Yeah.
Can he stay healthy?
Yeah. So the 500 homers to me, it's again contingent on him getting there. But for me, if he does, I think he's in. But that's not the end of this conversation. I told you it's about 50-50 if you have one MVP award for getting in.
Yeah.
But no player who has been active since 1960 has been elected into the Hall of Fame with fewer than 2,000 hits. Stanton projects to have just about 1,800, right? And just one player who has been active in Major League Baseball in the last 50 years has had an OPS under 900 for their career and scored under 1,200 runs and gotten in. And he's on pace to do that as well. So it's a really interesting case.
Yeah. And because he hasn't played a ton of games because he hasn't been healthy a lot of seasons.
Yeah. I mean, he's also, look, he's also not the same player anymore. The guy's hitting 200 this year. The power's still there. But again, I'll say back to what I did at the beginning. We can't be short-sighted here. Giancarlo Stanton, the Hall of Famer, isn't getting in because of what he did with the New York Yankees.
No.
Giancarlo Stanton, the Hall of Famer, is because of what he did with the Miami Marlins. And that's a Hall of Fame player if I've ever seen one. Now, will that stretch be long enough? Can you play yourself out of the Hall of Fame for what you do later in your career? Ask Andrew Jones that question. I think Andrew's a Hall of Famer, but I think what he did when he went on to the Yankees, I think left that short-sighted mind thought in people's eyes, and he hasn't gotten in, which is really frustrating. I think Stanton's in if he hits 500.